going to take them on. He beat one. It goes Bray. Horwill! It's got to be a try. Over he goes. The Reds. What a start to the second half, and it's the captain, James Horwill. And now James Horwill, what a night for him leading the Reds out. And there's James Horwill, Big Kev they call him in Queensland.
Reds, Wallabies, now Harlequins. A long and illustrious career, and through the whole thing you've been known as Big Kev.
Yes.
Why?
It happened probably when I was 14. There was I guess an Australian infomercial guy used to sell stuff on TV back home called Big Kev McQueen, and his catch cry was "I'm excited." And as a teenager I used to get quite excited, and it sort of stuck since I was at high school, and pretty much most people other than my mum, my dad and my wife call me Kev.
So why is Big Kev called Big Kev? Well, that's because of the cleaning guy in the 80s called Big Kev. One of my favourite rugby moments with James would probably have to be the Friday night ritual of him eating pasta before the rugby game on the Saturday. And his mother Jenny had just given him his 4th bowl of pasta and dutifully also told him to slow down his eating. He looks up quite excitedly and says, "Jenny, I'm not a small kid." And that's probably one of my favourite moments with James.
Mate, some of my best and most enjoyable memories were walking down the hill beside you for the college, feeling that spirit and butterflies as we ran on the field. Mate, your love and passion and drive for the game never wavered up through your career, and that's a complete testament to you, mate.
You've deserved every bit of your success, and you should be so very proud of all that you've achieved. And I'm sure that'll sink in over the next couple of months as you lead into retirement. What you should also be so proud of is your body transformation. The ability to keep it in tip-top shape week in, week out is awesome. And I just want to remind you quickly of what that transformation has been. Ladies and gentlemen, body is a weapon. Look at that, perfection. On a serious note, mate, you have been an awesome friend over the years, so many years, and I'm proud to call you one of my best mates and all that you stand for.
You know, obviously I came into what the academy structure was back then, literally from the day I left school. There was that sort of, you know, obviously a lot of thought about the success that had been with Queensland, you know, the greats that had played the game, you know, the Eels, the Horans, the Littles, the David Wilsons of the world that were like not only Queensland rugby greats, but they were Australian and world rugby greats. And I think there was obviously still that hope that Queensland rugby would be that sort of powerhouse that it had been, and not only winning trophies but creating Australian talent.
I've been very fortunate to play alongside you for a portion of that. I still remember you as a 20-year-old coming into the Red side, larger than life, so hyperactive and so excited to be involved in anything. Mate, we played New South Wales the first game, and mate, I just had an instant bond with you because you just want to rip and tear anything in a New South Wales or a blue jersey, and I thought that was outstanding, mate. From there, age 22, I think 2008, us older blokes thought to take this Reds team forward, you were the man. And that was after in 2007 I captained the Reds to our greatest ever loss. So, mate, I couldn't do it. You were the best man to take this team forward. And in 2011, 3 years later, after you left me behind, mate, you took them on and took them to victory and won an unbelievable premiership.
Some really fond memories there early on in the career at the Reds and the Heavies, and some really good times, you know, learning the game and also off the field. Probably from a rugby perspective, you know, something that sticks in my mind was your first game for Queensland there at Suncorp against the Waratahs. Your fidget levels and ants in the pants levels were all-time high before the game, but you really showed that you were made for playing at that level. And we really saw a first glimpse into the passion that became a hallmark of your career.
I see this massive guy coming down the street, and I'm like, holy shit, he's huge. And hence the name Big Kevy. But after talking to him for about 5 minutes, I realised he had the personality to match. And so I think after one day of training, the next day he'd invited me up to his house, his family vacation pad up in Noosa, lovely spot, and I was just blown away by the offer to start with. You know, a guy he basically didn't know, and I think that just speaks volumes of the man that he is, his inclusiveness and just the genuine actions he takes. I think that was a massive part to us to our success in 2011.
You personally, but Australian rugby, Reds rugby, and something was changing around 2010 into 2011. Looking back now, what was changing at that time for you?
The selecting of Ewan McKenzie as a coach had a huge impact on the playing group. I think guys like Will Genia, Quade Cooper, they were a bit earlier in the time, but they were two big guys that I think Eddie sort of spotted a long way out, and I think once they had the confidence behind them, they're two guys that obviously are world-class players in their positions.
Cooper dummying, Quade Cooper! Anything you can do, Digby, I can do better.
When I first met you, I wasn't sure what to expect, but then, straight away, you made me feel welcome as a young kid, and I guess that the reason why we sort of got along was that even though you're a fair bit older, you still acted like a kid. Just a hyperactive, big fella, a big gentle giant off the field, but on the field, complete opposite. Guy who was so dedicated to his craft, very serious and very passionate, but just wanted to rip apart the opposition and do anything he could to make the game easier for us, especially us little backs. You always put your body on the line, and sometimes that was for the benefit of us, but not so much yourself. You'd always end up in the physio room or in the in the hospital getting surgery. So I imagine now you'll be looking forward to putting those days behind you. No more surgeries, no more physio. Well, I'm sure that you'll still be in the physio room. You can't get you away from there.
I do want to say one thing, mate. You probably had a much bigger impact on me than what you think. I remember watching you down at BBC as playing for the first 15, and you walking down the hill to the bagpipes. That's made a lasting impact on me. I remember looking at you thinking, I want to be like that guy. And that was certainly the case every time I took the field with you. Certainly the case every time I saw you everywhere. Is that's Big Kev. I want to be like that. I want to be larger than life. And bro, I'll say this, to be honest, I think the most important thing, or the best thing I think that you've done throughout your footy career is you've just been a good person. As a leader, you always made sure that everybody was comfortable around the group, the team, so that they could express themselves in the best way that they could on the field and off the field. And for me, that's something that transfers across all walks of life, whether it's rugby, as a captain, as a leader, or just being an everyday person in and around the place.
James Horwill, what a moment for this captain of Queensland. This is their biggest game ever in Super Rugby.
What do you think of when you think of 2011?
Geez, I think it was, you sort of get that feeling of it all sort of worked out. Everything you'd put all your effort into sort of clicked that year. We clicked as a group.
Is this a magical moment coming up? Genia! Yes! The underdogs, the Queensland Reds, have won in front of over 52,000 at Suncorp Stadium.
When I speak of that style of rugby that we tried to play, that was, 2010 was our sort of learning year of what we were trying to achieve, and 2011 was sort of the year where it all came to fruition, I guess, and we were able to achieve some pretty miraculous things and played some fantastic rugby in doing that. And I think to obviously culminated in winning the Super Rugby Championship in front of a packed house at Suncorp is still probably one of my fondest, if not my fondest, rugby memory ever. Coming from you know, playing in front of, you know, 12,000 people at Suncorp Stadium where you could hear the echo, you know, of walking down the street and people not wanting to know who the Reds were. I didn't care, almost felt embarrassed to walk down the street with how we were playing, to the fact that, you know, there was people wearing Reds jerseys, pulling out their old Reds jerseys from way back because they were proud of our team and proud of who we were. And I think that to me is, along with the championship, was fantastic. But that feeling, that the pride we brought back to the jersey, in the especially in Brisbane, but not around the state, was that was something that resonates with me, and that was something that was very special.
Kev, g'day from sunny Brisbane. It was the scene of one of the greatest triumphs in Queensland rugby history. We were just talking about the other day, 2011. There were so many factors that went into that year, but you were the pillar of strength that really the whole thing was built around, mate. You're an absolute credit to the state. It was one of the great moments in Queensland sporting history. You were at the centre of it. You were always so generous with your time with us. We always appreciated it. You're a terrific rugby player, but most importantly, you're a terrific bloke. Congratulations on an epic career and all the best for the future.
Well said, Phil. You were only given the one honour cap for playing 100 games for Queensland, Kev, but this cap here, there were literally thousands of them around Brisbane, dotted everywhere in 2011. When you drove that team to the championship in that year.
My special memories of you, mate, will be with my time with you at the Reds. I think from where the Reds had been and where you got to, and that was a big part of you, and winning it in 2011 was great, and that will be one of the great highlights of your career.
And with Australian rugby back on the rise, then Wallaby coach Robbie Deans handed James Horwill the ultimate honour.
What a moment for James Horwill, 26 years of age, the second youngest Wallaby captain in Tri-Nations history.
Captain of the Reds, captain of your country.
Yeah, that was sort of something that was a bit unexpected. I was never consciously going out trying to achieve that. It was just something that Robbie asked me if I wanted to do and would do, and I was quite humbled, to be honest, to be even asked to even be in the conversation to be able to captain your country.
Look at the Wallabies, the Wallabies just staring them down. Ioane sprinting for the corner, gives it to Beale, try time Australia. A 10-year drought has been broken.
Well,
the Wallabies, Tri-Nations champions in 2011. They can feel pretty satisfied with the change of captaincy.
That's a huge honour and something that you don't take lightly, and it gave me a lot of pride, and certainly gave my family a lot of pride as well to be able to do that, and especially going into such a big occasion as, you know, the final of the Tri-Nations at the time, and then into the Rugby World Cup 2011. You know, that confidence is tough to beat in rugby. When you're a confident team, you're confident in your own ability, it does flow through not only yourself but the players around you and the groups you're involved with. And I think, you know, while the World Cup probably didn't go according to plan as we would have liked, you know, it was my first World Cup. It was a new experience. It was a tough tournament, especially being in New Zealand, being so close to home for us, but yet, you know, we were probably enemy number one the whole time we were there, and that was sort of interesting for me. You know, there wasn't a time that you left the hotel without someone telling you how much they didn't like you or didn't like Australia or hope we lost or so forth. So I think that was certainly a learning experience.
Mate, you've always been a player who played with a lot of pride, always represented your family and the players around you really, really well. You know, you're one of my favourite players I've ever played with, and it goes a long way to show that, you know, what you meant to me and other players. There's also the Kevin off the field that we all know. Mate, you're one of those blokes that a lot of the younger blokes really sought after and asked for advice, and you are more than happy to always give your time. You never wanted to miss out on a coffee date or anything like that. So
the relationship we built on and off the field is something I have loved, and, you know, it's going to last a lifetime, and look forward to the memories that we're going to make in the future. you know, the achievements you've had on the field on reflection are crazy. They're amazing. Every team you've been a part of, you've shown your leadership and obviously gathered the respect of everyone around you. You know, it's a real testament to you and all the injuries you've copped over your career and then the comebacks you've had from them are amazing. And you know, I don't think many people could have been through what you've been through, and you know, that's a real testament to you and the character you are.
It's a long time since that knee injury back in 2010. No doubt you recall it vividly. I certainly do. Kevy, you've come back from what was major and complex surgery to reach the highest levels of your sport. I know that this takes more than just good surgery and good physiotherapy. It takes the dedication to the physical and psychological aspects of recovery. Kevy, you've had a stellar career. You're an ideal role model, and I'm honoured to be able to call you a friend.
G'day Kevy, happy retirement. Couldn't let you retire without sending my best wishes. It's the obligatory buff head, Mack truck body and a pair of VW wheels. There's a massive body on top of a pair of feet that could fit into Cinderella's slippers. So it's a testament that you've lasted this long. You won't remember my favourite memory. It's probably a Suncorp, like in the dark after everyone had gone home, doing a fitness test with Clarkey, which you came through and you picked up Harry, who was about 7 at the time, and stuck him over your shoulder and carried him back under the stands. That made his year. So there's been plenty of great rugby players, mate, of which you're one, but you go a long way to find a better bloke.
My first impressions was of you at Man Mountain, standing in the middle of the room in your underpants as usual, leading the chorus at the Reds. Hyperactive human being, absolutely attention deficit disorder to the max, but a fantastic leader and just the energy that the Reds needed at that time. And I'm sure that's what you've brought to every other role that you've taken in rugby around the world since then. Good to hear that you're finally retiring. It'll be great to not have you cluttering up the physio rooms of every footy club in the world. Far too much time spent with me, but always amazing commitment when you are hurt, mate, to getting yourself back. And I give you full credit for that. You've sacrificed your body on the altar of rugby for far too many years. Major injuries to your feet, your shoulder, your knee, and eventually that one, the hamstring. Incredible, mate. Great effort to get back from all of those. Testament to your mental fortitude, your courage.
Give me your big pack horse.
Put some clothes on.
Nude.
Mate, happy retirement.
Happy retirement, big fella.
See you now.
Bye.
How long after it were the words British and Irish Lions brought up? There's no room for hiding. There's the eyes of the rugby world, second only, and maybe only just to a Rugby World Cup.
Yeah, no, I think it was huge, and I think the fact that we had something like 30,000 supporters from this side of the world travel to Australia as and they're not shy in displaying their colours. I think it brought the best out of our fans, the Australian fans. The fact that the Lions supporters all wore their red, that whether it was Wednesday midweek around town or to the game, everyone was wearing their colours, so you knew exactly what they were here to do. And it wasn't seen as the coolest thing to do to wear your gold jersey around all the time, and I think it brought the best out of all our supporters for Australian rugby, and they were some of the best crowds I've ever played in front of.
Familiar Australian response. Almost too much for James Horwill, the captain. But the Wallabies have come back.
James Horwill reduced to tears of joy.
And something that perhaps a sportsman in your position can experience that very few other people can is the brutality of sport and the way that an 80-minute game could come to define a player's career, and you guys felt the wrath.
We didn't play well in that third test, and we didn't deserve to win the third test.
There it is! There it is for Johnny Sexton and the Lions! It's done, it's dusted. Archive it.
James, your mate Jamie here. Just want to wish you the very best in your retirement, mate. I know it's been a tough decision for you. Actually, probably an easy decision. I know your body's knackered, but just want to just say thanks for the memories, mate. Had some great times with you on and off the field. And just say well done, really, for what you've given, not just Harlequins rugby, but probably, you know, closer to your heart, what you gave Australian rugby and rugby back home at the Queensland Reds. So, sincere well done for all you've achieved in your career, mate. These videos would not be the same without talking about the lowlights either, so come on, the Lions.
Field.
At what point in this process did you begin to think about life beyond perhaps the Reds and the Wallabies?
It had always been in the back of my mind from the moment I started playing rugby. I think it was one of the things that drew me to the game, that it is an international game and that I wanted to play overseas at some point. And I just wanted to, you know, up until that sort of time, I really hadn't thought about playing anywhere else but Queensland. It was just in my head. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to play for the Reds and play for the Wallabies. Rugby World Cup was what I wanted to do and wanted to be a part of, and then I thought that would be, at the time when I was making the decision, you couldn't play for the Wallabies if you were playing overseas. So that would, for me, you know, that would be a nice finish. You play in the Rugby World Cup and then move on. But didn't work out that way. But you know, obviously the rules have changed for Australian rugby, so there's still hope. I meet the threshold to still play for Australian.
Unfortunately, I can't be there tonight for your retirement party. Make sure you enjoy it. Make sure you also remember that it's not the end of your career as a whole, it's just the end of your playing career, and there's plenty more opportunities for you to conquer off the field in the coming years. It has been an absolute pleasure to work with you. I can genuinely say that, and there are a few players that I can say that.
You were described once as a national sporting treasure. How does that sit?
I don't know about that, mate. I think, you know, I was very lucky to play for a team that I cared a lot about. It means a lot to play for your country, and it's, you know, I'd love to play for the Wallabies again.
So the fire still burns?
Always, mate. You know, if I was asked, it'd be a pretty quick answer, I think.
Back in the Wallabies after jetting back into the country, James Horwill cutting short his end-of-season holiday.
My wife and I were having a week in Greece because I hadn't given her a honeymoon yet, seeing we got married in a bye weekend in Super Rugby last year, so I'd promised her a honeymoon, and yeah, we got a call in Greece, and we've had to postpone plans, which she's understanding of, and yeah, I'm very, very happy to do, because I'll get an opportunity to play for my country again.
The former skipper now playing his trade at Harlequins in England's Premiership after moving from the Reds last season.
I think it was very clear from those early days that you were going to go a long way in the game, which you've done. You can be very proud of everything you've achieved. Captaining your state and your country to great success over your career, and obviously your time in the UK as well, which I know you've made the most of. So mate, I'm honoured to have been a teammate of yours and to call you a mate, and I look forward to spending a bit more time with you and your family when you eventually work out that Australia is the best place in the world to live. So.
Yeah, it's sort of crazy to think this is my third season. It's gone very quickly since I've been here. I've really enjoyed it. You know, Queens have been fantastic for me since I've arrived, and really, I guess, taking me in as one of their own. So it's been enjoyable. It's been a different experience and something. I'm glad that, I'm here. I'm really happy with the move I made and the decision I made to come over here and experience something new, and really enjoying my time here at Harlequins. It's something that I'm quite privileged and honoured to be able to do. As we spoke about the history, it is a great club. There is so much history involved with this club that I feel very privileged to be able to be named club captain, and hopefully I can do the armband justice, I guess, moving forward.
What we do in the media really rises and falls on how open and honest and accepting you guys are as players, and you have been one of the absolute best, mate, and I really want to thank you for that. It's what's made you such a great ambassador for the game, whether it be with the Wallabies or Queensland, or since you've been in England, the times that we've reconnected since you've been over there. the ability and willingness to just lend an ear and allow us to be dipping in and out of your life there has been outstanding. So,
as I wrote in the article a few weeks ago, you know, you actually live professionalism and what it means to be a professional rugby player. That's 24/7, and you live being a leader. Some people talk it, others walk it, and you definitely live that. And I'm so grateful that I actually got to spend more than half of my career playing, you know, with you, alongside you, but for you.
Harlequin's so close. Dave Ward now, back to Horwill. Horwill takes over. The returning captain gets the party started at the stoop for Harlequins.
Horwill. Brown's with him. Horwill looks to have scored. It's a try for Harlequins.